All right. Good morning or good afternoon. You can see it. It was a long travel night last night. I got home at 4 a.m. So the just want to touch base with everybody. I know I just sent out the code, so I know we still got a couple of people that are jumping in here, and so I appreciate everybody that's coming online. Let's see here. Yeah, looks like we still got several more people joining us as we're speaking. So I want to kind of just go through and review a couple of things. This week there wasn't any homework. I know several people had sent some emails, those kind of things, and I really was looking at putting together homework for this week. And when I started going through it, it wasn't anything that I really felt like there was a lot of growth potential there, other than actually getting your DISC personality profile and really understanding what people's strengths and weaknesses are of the people that are on your team. I think, that's the big key there as we're looking at this, is that we're doing this to learn what it is to be able to communicate with our teams really well. And I really think that that's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you're communicating with your teams, you got to be communicating. And I think that's why the DISC has kind of, Keller Williams as a whole, we've kind of replaced the DISC and we've replaced it with the actual KPA, because the DISC was good at helping us manage people and helping us to be able to communicate with people with what they needed. And so I think that's probably the big key there, is that, let's see, there we go. Get these straight. There we go. Okay. So that we can get communicate at an even higher level than what we may already be communicating with. So as we're going through today, and let me kind of just, it's coming up over here. So there wasn't any homework. So I know some people got a little nervous. They're like, where's the homework? So there wasn't any homework this week. And in all honesty, I don't believe there's actually going to be any homework for this week or next week either, because the last week we will probably do some homework because it's more of a review, and so kind of getting the idea of what you've actually put into place over the last 6 weeks. Can you believe that we've already been at this for 4 weeks? I mean, 4 weeks is what we've already been at this. Everybody say hey to Vicky.
As I'm running through the back.
So we have been at this for 4 weeks now, going through the Millionaire Real Estate Agent and managing the office of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And so as we're doing this and we're putting all of this together, the key is that we're doing it for you all. So I've been blessed to be able to be the one that has been bringing it to you every week, and it's been an honor. And so I'm excited about it. Yeah, now we're going on to chapter 9. Chapter 9 is where we're at. We still got, some people coming in there. So I just had an aha that if I do not send out that email well in advance, we're definitely going to have less participation. So those of you that are on this webinar, let's participate at a high level today, because how you participate in here is how you participate everywhere, right? Bold law. And so let's go through this and let's get started on this. All right. Let's see here. Let me make sure I got all my screens right. Okay. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about this situation. And I'm doing this, and I actually desire to go through this situation. And we're actually in your manual, we're on page number 114. 114 is where we're at. So you're starting to manage all the different tasks during the day. And for some reason, you can't even seem to leave before 7 p.m. And the phone is still ringing off the hook. See, what's wrong with this picture? Now, go ahead and post it in the chat window there, kind of what you could actually think, what are you actually thinking about? Yeah. So we got a clap in there for the bold law. And so as you're looking at that, go ahead and post in the chat window, what do you think is actually occurring on and going on with that picture that we're talking about right there? Give everybody a few minutes to kind of post in there. Lack of time blocking. Mary, you are the winner. She got it in there first. See, that's exactly what's happening. And lack of time blocking is not just filling up your schedule with stuff. See, I've had that happen before, where executive assistants would actually just fill up their calendar with stuff, like every 15 minutes. And they would have a different task every 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not time blocking. That is not time blocking. And so when we're looking at time blocking, I think the question I'm going to ask, and this is the question I would ask everybody in here, how many of you, not setting expectations of others for your availability. Yeah. See, as EAs and as admins and as people and directors of operations, what ends up happening sometimes is we feel like that we need to be available for our people 100% of the time. And because we're available for our people 100% of the time, we're not able to support them at the level that we need to support them at. Right? Now, I'm going to get you on one thing, a lot of EAs. So on EAs, sometimes you have, I guess it would be more of a disposition sometimes to actually work through lunch. And you have got to take that time off, even, just get up from your seat and leave the actual room. And if you need to, walk around the building, get some exercise, get moving again. Yeah, Valerie and Colleen, it's not just you. I mean, it's everybody. See, Terry, it's a challenge that I see happening across the board. Across the board, I see it happening all the time. You're like, if I got up for lunch, I would not be able to leave here on time. And in all actuality, we've got to get you to realize, that there is never enough time to get everything done. There's never enough time, and there never will be enough time to get everything done. And yet there is always enough time to get the most important things done. See, when you're going through and you're reading the book, The One Thing, he actually says, don't create a to-do list. He actually says, create a success list. And what are the successes that you have got to get done every single morning? I think Rebecca Vanderkoel, that's running Mark Ramsey, his fellow bowl coach, running his team out of Charlotte, North Carolina. She has got an absolutely amazing time block. Like even her personal time in the evening is time blocked with her family, even to the point where in the evening where she has got time blocked time to actually read the next book that she's reading. It's all in there. Now, I know that some people have said, hey, I have a challenge with time blocking. Yeah, we all do. If you have not been used to time blocking, you're going to have a challenge with it. It's just going to happen. It's because it's not a habit. I use in the bold room, I use the conversation of getting my 5-year-old to brush his teeth. It is not easy to get a 5-year-old to brush their teeth. And so you're constantly having to force on them to get them to brush their teeth, right? Yet now, I know everybody that's on this webinar with us today, I know that every single one of you brushed your teeth this morning. And if you didn't, you probably stopped at the drugstore on the way into work and go, I can't deal with this. I've got to get my teeth brushed. See, it feels weird not to brush your teeth now because it's just become a part of you. It's a habit. And so when time blocking becomes a habit, at that point, then what's going to happen is it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier. You think it's easier for the people that are playing playing football in the Super Bowl? You think it's easier for them to practice than it was when they were playing in Little League? It absolutely is. Because what happens is that they built that habit. They built that habit of practice. And so that's what we got to get in there is we got to start that time blocking so that we're getting in that habit. Now, what happens? What causes us to bust up our time blocking? So, what are some things, and just go ahead and post it in the chat window because we're going to be very interactive today. What are some things that are causing you to lose your time block? Agent questions, putting out fires, allowing others to interrupt. No one else is following a time block. Yeah, I love that one, right? Nobody else is following a time block, so how am I going to follow one when they don't? See, what happens is we got to lead by example on that one. Being the go-to person for helping others, emails, phone calls, clients, everything. And you start pulling your hair out like, and you go home and you're going home overwhelmed instead of going home fascinated, right? And then you go home and you're like, whoo, you get down, you sit down on the couch and you just like Where's Netflix? Where's the remote? Where's my glass of wine? Right? And so you're just like, I gotta zone out. See, if nobody else on your team is time blocking, you got to set the example, because odds are they do not know how to actual time block. And so you 1 o'clock, there you go, right? And so you got to be the one that's going to lead that. You got to be the one that's going to instruct them, because odds are the mega is out on appointments and those kind of things. And so you've got to be the one that's going to rise your leadership and going to lead the others on the team to show them what a time block looks like. All right. So let's talk about this time block. Let's talk about a time block, because that's where we are right now in the manual for today, is the actual time block. So let's talk about that. Now, let's look at time blocking. What are some things, and you can post them in the chat so everybody will be able to see them. What are some things that, as a real estate agent, we have 5 things of a real estate agent's job description that we coach in bold. And Diana tells us every single time that I've gone to any national event that there are 5 things. And those 5 things are that you're supposed to be lead generating, you're supposed to be lead follow-upping, you're supposed to go on appointments, you're supposed to negotiate contracts, and you're supposed to script, practice, and role play. Those are the 5 things. Those are the only 5 things that a real estate agent gets paid for, right? It's the only 5 things that we as real estate agents that are dollar producing income. And so what would be the 5 items of an admin's dollar producing income? So what are the 5 things? What are your 5 big rocks that you have got to get through on a daily basis? All right. What are those 5 things? Let's just post some in there. Database. That's a great one, right? You got to hold that database there. Then we've got, files. Yeah, that's another big one. Emails. That's another big one. Okay. What else? What else you have? Marketing. Yeah. Social media. Those are all good ones. Email, database, advertising, clients. Now we're looking for big rocks, okay? We're looking for big rocks. So database could be one big rock, right? Now what are some of the tasks? What are some of the tasks that would actually happen or come under that database? So as what we're looking at, 33 touch that would kind of come under marketing. Cleaning it, yes, that one would be there, yes. Client follow-up. Now, are these current client follow-ups or are these past client follow-ups? See, past client follow-ups would be a little bit different. Assigning contacts to agents. That's the one I'm looking for right there. See, when your team shows up in the morning and they know exactly who they're supposed to call out and who they're supposed to call. I had this happen yesterday. The agent was like, I do so much better when I prepare my list of who I'm going to call, and I just work through my list versus going through the computer and doing it on the database. Because what happens when you're doing it on the database, you start searching their property, you start searching, what they're doing on social media, they start doing all this stuff instead of being purposeful and actively listening to the person that's actually on there. Rabbit hole, yeah, right? And so I'm going to say probably the number one big rock that most of us have is the database. Now, that's not for all of you because some of you may be doing contract to close, right? And some of you may be doing strictly marketing. And some of you may be director of operations and you may have everybody else actually doing those items. Yet database on the admin side is probably the number one thing, right? I mean, I think it's a big rock. And somebody said it depends on the database's size. Yet here's the thing. We all should be growing that database. See, Gary Keller told us in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent that if we had 1,920 people in a database that were Mets, that's the key, that were Mets, meaning that if we picked up the phone and called them, they would say, hey, J. Michael, right? And we had those on a 33 touch, meaning that we were truly communicating with them 33 times throughout the year. And I don't mean 33 emails from the e-edge system, because your mama will unsubscribe from you if you send her 33 marketing emails on how to reset her clock, right? Trust me, I know. My mom unsubscribed. She's like, I don't even have a clock in the house anymore. My phone automatically sets. That's our alarm clock. Why are you sending me emails that tell me to reset my alarm? Right? And so it's actually making 4 phone calls. It's the birthday cards, the home anniversary cards, the anniversary cards, right? It's 2 mailing pieces a month. Those 2, one of them can be a mailing, one of them can be an email. And so, that would all be on the marketing on 33 Touch. Yet once you've got that database in place and you're adding to it, at that point, you will have enough income to net, your mega will have enough income to net $1 million, right? And the more income the mega nets, the more they've got to pay the admin. The more they've got to provide leverage for you, the more they've got to go and get more marketing that will allow you to become not just an EA, yet move into that role of a director of operations or even an executive assistant executive, right? And so, a rising tide rises all ships. So knowing that 33 Touch. So let's talk about actual, we're talking about time block. And a lot of times people get a little stressed, especially here in America. We talk about balance. You got to have work-life balance. Now, if I was to stand on one leg right now and actually just stand there on one leg, hold one leg up in the air, would you say that I was balanced, or would you say that I was actively balancing? See, I would say that I was actively balancing, because what would happen is my ankle would be compensating for my weight, moving back and forth to make sure that I am balancing. And so it's an active thing, not a solid thing or stable thing. And so the difference is that sometimes we start judging our balance or even have an expectation of balance is that, hey, I got to spend 8 hours at work, I got to spend 8 hours at home, and I got to spend 8 hours at sleep. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just not the way it works sometimes. Not the way that it works. All right. And so what you've got as you're going through this, what you have is that you've got to get to the situation where you realize that it is always an active balancing, right? It's always an active balancing, because there's going to be some days like right now, today, we actually have a meeting at a PTA. We're sponsoring a PTA, and we're going to give away solar eclipse glasses because we got 100% coverage. So we got 1,000 pencils. We got 1,000 solar eclipse glasses that we're going to give away, and then we've got trifold brochures that we're giving away as well, to tell about a program that we're working with the PTA, where if anytime the PTA sends or anybody says, hey, I'm with the Monarch Elementary School PTA, we'll actually donate when a house closes. We'll donate $250 to the PTA. Now that's a huge, huge income producer for the PTA, and yet I know that we're going to end up having to work late this evening, right? Now the cool part about that is if I've got to work late this evening, then there's going to be a day, and it may not be tomorrow. See, because if we think that we're living in that work-life balance, it would be tomorrow, and it's not. Tomorrow, I've got my first phone call at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so what you do is that, it may be next week that you actually leave work early and you go and pick up the kids, or go to 1 o'clock, at 3 o'clock instead of 5 or 6 or 7. Right? And so you have that ability to fluctuate. I've always told my agents that if you work on Saturday, make sure that you take off on Sunday. If you work on Sunday, make sure you take off on Saturday. If you've got to work Saturday and Sunday, there better be a day during the week that you're not coming in. So you gotta have that. It's an active balancing. And see, Gary Keller tells us that we can swing that pendulum in the book, The One Thing. He says you can swing that pendulum to work. Like if you're working on a project, like if you're working to get something out, or if you got, 33 Touch mailings are getting ready to go out, and you've got to design it, you got to get it printed, you got to get it, folded and tabbed, and you got to get the labels on it, and you got to get it out. There may be days that you're going to have to work a little bit more. And so what's going to happen is when we have those days, from there, what's going to happen is that you got to come back and reset and make sure that at some point down the road, you have a day where you get that time back. It's an active balancing, not a balancing across the board. Now, there's going to be times when you go on vacation. How many people have ever gone on vacation, and when you come back from vacation, you're like, holy cow, it's going to take me 2 months to get caught up. That ever happened to anybody? I'm raising my hand. Yeah. Because what happens is that when that happens is we get into the situation where we're like, yeah, crazy when I went back. Because a lot of times we don't have enough leverage yet because there's not enough profit yet to actually go and hire our second admin or even a third admin so that we can start balancing everything across everybody. And so I'm headed back on vacation in November, already concerned about that. So see where you're already stealing from the present tense by worrying about what's going to happen in November. See, instead of worrying about what's going to happen in November, make sure you've got a game plan in place. Focus on the plan, not the problem. And I know Valerie's going to clap, right? And so that's the key, is that we got to focus on the plan, not the problem. I guess it has been 5 years ago now that my phone, we back, had a little bit of glitch in the internet. There, okay. Just didn't work. And so what I did is I actually scheduled a time. Yep, go back through and start about letting it sing and let it go. Yep. And so you schedule a time. You schedule that time. Maybe I'm talking too fast for the internet to keep up with me, right? You schedule that time. For me, is that every day at 5 while I was on the cruise, is that I would call into the office and make sure that there was any challenges, that I handled those and got all that taken care of. And so it was a 15-minute call every single day. You're like, well, you were on vacation. It was 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes of call that I had to do so that when I came back, I knew I was not walking through into a poop emoji day when I got back. And so as you're walking through this, you got to start making sure that you got game plans in there, especially right now when you may not have enough leverage yet to actually go to that next level. Now, once you've got more leverage, you may be able to go on vacation, right? Yeah, nobody likes poop emoji days. And so, as you go on vacation, maybe you do eventually get to where you've got that second admin that's there to support you. And then once you've got that second admin to support you, what ends up happening is the job, they can actually do it all. Now, it's a little stressful for them. And so when you come back, you may have to let them leave early a couple of times the next week because they filled in for you. Again, actively balancing. It's not an actual, balance across the board. It's active, meaning we're always looking for it. So we talked a little bit about big rocks, and we came up with what one big rock was, and that was the database. Does anybody have another idea of when we're talking about database, let's talk about a big rock that we would put into our time block daily. What would be another big rock that we would put into our time block daily? So we got database. What's another one? Files, marketing. I love that marketing one because I think, as we're looking at this, many of you are EAs and you are running the entire team. Like you are everything. And we do, trust me, I know that we as mega agents, and let you come in, let's say 30 minutes before the rest of the team does. Man, here, let's see here. Yeah, we're challenging the internet today. All right, we're back. Every time I start talking faster, I drop out. All right. So as you're looking at this and you're talking about, working, and we're working through this, and you're the only one that's actually handling everything. You got to break this down. So what I suggest doing is maybe coming in 30 minutes before everybody else on your team gets in. So if your team comes in at 8:30, maybe come in at 8. If your team starts coming in at 8, maybe come in at 7:30. So that what you're doing is you're working through this. You've got 30 minutes of 100% silence time, right? 100% silence time. My admin, just so that you know, my admin leaves every single day at 4:30. She's out. Every single day she leaves the office at 4:30. She comes in at 7:30. Which means that she has a full hour before anybody else on the team gets in there, that she gets 100% solid focus time and knowing that nobody's going to interrupt her. It's kind of like her time block, right? And so at that point, what's going to happen is that when we've got that time block, she's got that uninterrupted time block, man, she gets so much done. Like, well, I've already seen all the emails that she sent out. She's already got closing caught up and ready to go. And so, yeah, those are the most productive times of the hour. And many of you are probably already doing that. Now, here's what happens. The agents go into their time block and they start lead generating, right? And then they come in, they're constantly breaking their time block, coming in and saying, hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. Right? Or I booked an appointment. Can you put this together for me? Okay, I booked an appointment. Can you put this together for me? What if they just went ahead and put it on their calendar? And when they put it on their calendar, they invited you into them on that calendar. You didn't accept. They just invited you, so you got a notification. At that point, as soon as you got that notification, they know that at 11 o'clock, your time block is to start working on marketing. Part of that marketing that you would have, the very first thing in your marketing time block that you would have would be actually putting buyer consultation packets together and pre-listing packets together, right? And so this would allow them to stay in their time block, and this would allow you uninterrupted time from 9 to 11 or 9 to 12, however long they're lead generating, that would give you that time, right? Now, here's the other thing. How many admins, how many of you are actually script practicing and role playing? Are any of you script practicing and role playing on a daily basis? Do any of you have a script practice and role play partner? Darren, awesome. Yes. Darren says yes. All right. So there's a couple there. Nope, not. Yet here's the thing. You got a client. You have a client that calls in, right? And so now you desire to handle it in the best possible way. And so you go back into an entrepreneurial level of actually getting that together. And so you wing it, what I call a Levi pilot, meaning you're flying by the seat of your Levi's. And so you become a Levi pilot and you handle it the best you can, and you do pretty well because you've got some strong emotional intelligence. Yet, is it truly purposefully handling it? And I would dare to say no, because are you not handling the same one every single way? Are there scripts available for admins? Well, yes and no. In most cases, your mega agent could actually write some scripts for you, or the two of you could sit down and write them together. Yet I think the key is that, remember when we talked about on step 1, how are we answering the phone? Are we answering the phone the exact same way every single time? Are we putting on our voicemail every single morning when we're going to be available to return phone calls, right? Because there's no, that's why they give us 30 to 45 days to close homes, because there really is no such thing as a real estate emergency. Now, I do couch that statement because I know that there is a real estate emergency. It's closing day. You're supposed to close. They're doing the final walkthrough on the house, and the sellers are not out yet, and the buyers are threatening to walk. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an emergency. You get to the closing table, you don't have a termite letter, that is an emergency. I understand that there are some real estate emergencies. It's just that we usually normally have 30 to 45 days to do them, and so that they don't actually become an emergency right away. Most of the time that if we got back to somebody within an hour to 2 hours, we're good. All right. Now, another way for admins to get some scripts. There's a group coaching program out there called Language of Sales, and Diana Kokoska teaches it herself. Another great program that's out there that would give you some scripts on how to handle some things is the Perfect Real Estate Assistant. And that's a coaching program, a group coaching program that Monica Reynolds coaches. All right. So let me pull this up real quick for you, because I would like to get this out to everybody. And I think it would be a huge help for some people, you know, that when this class is over, some of you are you're gonna desire to have more coaching. You're gonna desire to have more just more knowledge around this and taking this to the next level. So let's look at MAPS group coaching for the perfect real estate assistant. I'm pulling it up. All right. So the perfect real estate assistant course is a course that's out there that any of you have access to that you could actually register for. And it's Monica Reynolds. The next course is actually going to start on October the 4th, and that's at 1 p.m. Central Time. And the cost for this course is $199 for 6 months. That's it. So I'm going to put the link here in the chat window, and then I'll email that out as well so that everybody has a copy of that. Yeah, $199. You can pay one time up front, or you can do $199 for 6 months, and it's 18 total courses. It does include the mega agent, and it also includes the admin. Every month there's 1 call for the mega, 2 calls for the admin, and then you've got a week to actually get that together. I said, yeah, I took it a year ago, and it was completely worth it. Yeah, see, you're mega, and I'm not saying anything against your mega, yet the 60% of the job that the mega agent does poorly is the paperwork, right? And then the mega's going to come in and coach you on how to actually be a rock star admin on the 60% of the job that they do poorly. It's just not going to happen, right? I think Chris Heller says it best, is like, really? You're going to teach someone to do the job that you already do at a lower level, right? It just doesn't happen. And so, yeah, somebody else said took the course last year. I taken it again now. Wanted at family reunion, learning more. Yeah, because you're never step into the same river twice, right? A man or woman can never step into the same river twice, because you're a different person and that river is a different river. The same with this Monica Reynolds class as well. I've actually me and my admins have actually taken it 3 times, right? Somebody else, Leslie, said they're taking it again. It's powerful because 18 weeks, you go, oh, I can get this done in 18 weeks. It's a lot to get done in 18 weeks. And sometimes you just have to take it again. So I've included the link in there. I am a bold coach, so it does ask who your bold coach is, or who actually referred the program to you. You can just put me in there as your bold coach, and that'll take care. Terry said, great class, want to take it again. And Monica holds it together. Like, she's been training admins for years. For years, Monica has been training admins, and Monica is actually the person that is running Chris Heller's team. So I think she knows what she's doing. I think she's got it down. I think she's got it down to a system. All right, so let's talk about the big rocks. When we're talking about the big rocks, all right. So we talked about marketing. We've talked about database. Now, really, what we're looking at doing is we're looking to get down to 5 big rocks, right? And so we're looking at those 5 big rocks. Those are the things that we must time block first. Well, why must we time block our big rocks first? I mean, we've all heard this story of the teacher, that when the teacher comes in, he puts a big jar right there in the middle of the classroom, and he fills it up with rocks, like big pieces of gravel. And he asks the class, he says, hey, is this jar full? And everybody's like, well, yeah, it's full. And so then he comes in and he gets some smaller gravel, and he pours some smaller gravel in it and shakes it down through all the cracks of the big rocks. And he says, so I've added more rocks to it. So it wasn't full. Do you think it's full now? Everybody's like, yeah, it's got to be full now. And so then he goes and grabs some sand, and he takes some sand and pours into the same jar and shakes it down between all the gravel, right? And then he says, ask the class, is it full now? And everybody's like, yes, it's got to be full. It's got to be full now. And so then he goes and gets a pitcher of water and starts pouring into the vase. See, if you don't put the big rocks in first, if you put the water in first, guess what's going to happen? The big rocks are not going to fit. It's going to overflow. You're going to be fascinated, and it's not going to work. You got to put the big rocks into your time block first. They go first. Like Brian Tracy says, you got to eat your biggest, slimiest frog first, because if you don't, what happens is every hour after it starts doubling in size, right? So you don't get your big rock in, you don't get the database done at 8:30, and by 9:30 it's doubled in size. So instead of your frog being the size of your hand that you got to eat, now it's the size of 2 hands, right? An hour later, it's the size of 4 hands. And the longer it goes, the bigger it's going to get. And that's what's happened with some of our databases, is that our databases have continued to grow and double in size, and we've not maintained them at a higher level. And now it's just so daunting of a task that we can't even imagine tackling it. And so there's just going to be some time where you're going to start biting that frog one bite at a time. And so you may put on your time block 1 hour a day to clean up 20 people's contact records. And I mean, you go make sure their email address is correct. You go in and put their Facebook profiles in there so people can click on them right there and be able to see what's going on. And you may only get 20 records a day cleaned up. Yet here's what you realize is that after 1 week, you now have 100. And after a month, you now have 400 people in your database with the records cleaned up, right? And then after a year, you're now at 3,600 people in your database that are 100% cleaned up and ready to go. And it doesn't become such a daunting task to keep up with it every single day. It's just 20 records a day that you're updating in the database. That's it. Making sure that they got right contact information, making sure that they've got the right name, making sure that the husband and the spouse are connected, making sure that the birthdays are in there, right? Because when you pull up one person, you're going to go to Facebook. You're going to go and search when their actual birthday is, right? And then you're going to put that into your database record. So now you've got the birthday, you've got all that in there. You may even have the email, you may even have their telephone number that you find on Facebook as well. All right. So let's keep on going as we go through here. All right. So defining your big rocks: family, spiritual life, dream vacation to Europe, KWU certification, KW profit sharing, your office budget, right? How many of you are running your mega agent office without an actual budget? Think about that for a moment. See, next Thursday, and we don't know a time yet. We've got to look at my calendar. Next Thursday, I'm actually going to be teaching a class from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent on Facebook Live that's going to actually be covering the budget model. All right. What else? What is your annual income, and what's your growth potential on your annual income, right? When you become a director of operations, what's going to be your growth, right? What's going to be your growth potential? See, because that's what you're working for. So now let's go on to page number 118. We're on page number 118, the 80-20 principle. So in bold, we actually cover the 5 steps of mastery. As you cover the 5 steps of mastery, one of the 5 steps of mastery is actually momentum, right? Once you've got the 5 steps of mastery, you're talking about one of those is momentum. And momentum means is where 80% of your income, or 80% of what you're getting done, or your results, is coming from 20% of your activities. It's the 80-20 principle, or some people call it the Pareto principle. See, there was an economist in Italy that realized that 20% of the wealth was maintained 80% of the wealth was maintained by 20% of the people. He also found that 80% of the land was maintained by 20% of the people. See, it even comes down to, the agents. 80% of the business is done by 20% of the agents. And it's a natural law. It's a natural law that's there. And so you've got to realize that that's going on. And so when you realize that you got an 80-20 principle in every single thing that you're doing, we're all working in here in the office today. And so we got Bold launching. We're hiring a new photographer for our real estate team, or for our photography business. And we're also getting prepared for our PTA meeting tonight. So yeah, got a lot going on around here. Now, here's the thing. As you're doing this and you're looking at these big rocks and you're going through these things and you're starting to nail these things down, you got to realize that there are tons of different things that you could be doing. Yet there are the most important things that you need to be doing, or I don't like to use the word have to do. I would say you get to do. And those are the most important things. And we've nailed down 2 of them. We've got that, database and marketing. So, one of the things I might do some homework this week where we actually put in there and actually get people to actually put down what their big rocks are, and what would be their 20% activities, Okay. So that everybody has an idea exactly what those are and where we're at on those. So practicing your time blocks. Again, remember, I really need for admins, because I know you guys hold yourself at a level of accountability that you probably wish your mega agent or all of the agents in your team would. Yeah, your mega agent and the people on your team understand that there's never enough time to get everything done in a day. Yet there's always enough time to get the most important things done. Now you go, well, I got to clean up all their messes, right? That's what my EA tells me, right? She's like, oh, J. Michael, please don't sell any more real estate. It's like, it's bad. I'm bad at it. And I take 100% ownership that I'm bad at it, right? I say I'm just like Gary Keller. When I start touching systems, I turn them into mush. And so what I've actually started doing is my EA, I've been sending her these classes that I've been doing online each week, and she's been going through them and saying, okay, here's where we need to go, J. Michael. Here's what we're missing. I understand now where you're communicating with me on. And so, some of you may send these to your mega and get your mega to actually listen to these as well, to kind of so that y'all can be on the same page with everything. All right. Now let's keep on going. So practicing your time block, right? 20%, that needs to be on your activity. Remember, for the real estate agent, it is lead generation, lead follow-up, right? And then it's also going on appointments. It's negotiating contracts, and it's script practice and role play. Those are the 5 things of the mega agent's job description. So what are the 5 things of an EA's job description? And you're like, ooh, there's just way more than I understand that. Yeah, let's pull them down to the big rocks. All right. Now, anytime that we erase something, just like with your mega, if your mega agent actually it removes lead generation time, they must replace their lead generation time, right? If something happens and you just have to have a closing, and that closing has to happen at 9 o'clock. And so what's going to happen is they're going to have to replace their lead generation time at a later time during the day. And you got to be consistent at it enough to set a habit. So how many of you already know what is going to be your thing that you are going to do, first thing in the morning when you come in, right? What is going to be your first thing that you're going to do, the very first thing that you do first thing in the morning? All right? You can post it in chat. Plan the day, okay? I love that, and you're already behind. If you're planning your day the very first thing when you get in the morning, you're already behind. So I'm gonna suggest to you that before you leave today, you plan tomorrow. You plan for tomorrow. Before you leave the office today, take 15 minutes and make sure that the tomorrow is already on paper, right? Even to the point where tonight, what are you gonna wear tomorrow, right? Do you know what the weather's supposed to be like? Is it supposed to rain tomorrow? If it's supposed to rain, your dress, your attire that you're going to wear tomorrow may need to be different than what you were thinking you were going to wear, right? Yeah. If it's going to rain tomorrow, how much time you spend on your hair may even be a little different as well, right? I know I change based on, some days I wear it up, some days I wear it flat. It really kind of depends on what the weather is going to be like, right? The last thing I desire to do is have gel in my hair and it start raining and start sliding down my face like it happened yesterday. Because I thought I was going to beat the rain, and I didn't beat the rain. So 70% of my day is time block. The rest is open to move blocks around, and I love that, right? If you are so structured, Gary tells us agents that all we need to be structured is from 9 to 12 when we're in the office. That's it. And he goes, if you are structured from 9 to 12 in the office, you've won the day. Because like the whole rest of your day could go south very, very quickly, yet you still won the day because you got your big rocks, your most important things done between 9 and 12. And I'm okay if you've got 70% of your day time blocked and 30% of your day to move things around and handle situations. It's actually a really good thing. Working on my 20% and for a solid 30 minutes before the others get into the office. Yes. Now, do you have clarity on what your 20% is, right? You got to know what your 20% is. As I'm going through this, I'm coming up with I think we need homework this week, right? What is our 20%? What is our big rocks? And really starting to focus on those. So I'll get the homework out. And in all honesty, I'm just going to be honest with you because I believe in transparency. It will not go out tonight. It will probably go out tomorrow evening, late, maybe even into the early morning hours tomorrow night when I get that homework out for you. Yet it will go out before Saturday because Saturday is my day off. I fly out again on Sunday. And so on Saturday this week, I am taking the family to the lake. I'm in a counterbalancing, right? I've been so much into work lately because, I flew out on Monday morning at 5:45. I got home last night at 4 a.m. or early this morning at 4 a.m. Been working all day. I've got to work tomorrow. I've got PTA again in the morning. And so Saturday is going to be my counterbalance, right? I probably, if it wasn't for Facebook and just enjoying Facebook time, I probably wouldn't even take my phone with me as well, right? Or being able to call the boat tow if something happened on the boat. Yet I'm going to crank up the XM. We're going to go to the boat. We're going to have a blast. We're going to be prepared and ready to go early morning on Saturday and just spend the whole day and completely check out for that day, right? Yet then on Sunday morning's church, and then right back out to the airport because we got to go. I'm going to counterbalance tomorrow on Saturday. All right. Now, let's keep going on because we got about 12 more minutes. How many of you, and it's different for people, and it's different. I think you guys are a little different than most agents. You're probably a lot different than most agents. You're probably a lot more detailed and a lot more structured than most agents. Yet, how many of you know when your prime time hours of your day are? See, because some of you, it's going to be different for everybody. Some of you are going to be in the morning. Now, I love that. Mary says it's in the morning, right? Yet, for me, my prime time hours are not in the morning. I'm a very slow riser. Like when I'm on the road for Bold, knowing I've got to be in the room at 7, I have to wake up at 4:30 so that I get built into that process. I got those hours to get going. And so for me, my prime time hours, in all honesty, are 3 to 5. Those are my prime time hours. And I think they became my prime time hours because that's when I was going on appointments when I was selling real estate on my own. Those became my prime time hours because I got in a zone at that point. Okay. So for most of you, it may be in the morning, and some of you, it may be different. Do you know when your prime time hours are? Because you're going to put the things that are maybe the most challenging for you during those prime time hours. All right. Now, delegation. Some of us have control issues. And I think that's probably the best way to challenge it or say it in the nicest way. Some of us have some control issues, me included. The lady that runs my team, she'll tell you, hey, I've got some control issues, and you got to be willing to delegate. Now, what is delegation? Sometimes we think delegation looks like, hey, can you do this? And you drop it on somebody's desk and you run. That is not delegation. That's dumping on people. That's poop emoji on people, right? And so what happens is that you gotta slow down to speed up. So that when you're gonna delegate something to someone, you're gonna have to make sure, one, that there's clarity around what you're actually delegating, right? So what am I actually delegating? What part of this job am I delegating to somebody else? Right? What part of my job or what part of this, what are some of the key things that I really need to make sure that you do during this project? And then to finalize that, when do I need to have this project back? Or when do I need to have this project completed? Or when do I need to have this project together for first review? See, that when you slow down, and that may go, I don't have time for that, I'll just do it myself. Well, if you slow down for 5 minutes and you get that done, what's going to happen is it's going to allow you to speed up later. So sometimes you do have to slow down to be able to speed up. All right? Now, productivity warrior, your first assistant, or who am I to delegate my 80% to? Well, that's a challenge. It's a challenge at first, right? What you got to do is you got to support that mega, support your agents so much at a higher level that they've got more profitability. They've got more profitability. Now, I'm gonna ask you real quickly. I'm gonna ask you real quickly, is that your mega is running and you start taking your 60%. Part of your job as the executive assistant is to hold the mega accountable that when you start taking 60% of their job, that they continue to increase the business. They continue to increase. Instead of doing 2 hours of lead generation, now they may be doing 3 hours of lead generation. And you got to help hold them accountable to that so that they go out and get more business so that you can go and have more leverage. Because see, if they just go, whew, man, I got some help now. I'm just going to take my foot off of the gas and we're going to coast right on through this. We're going to be good. What's going to happen is they're going to come crashing back down, and then it's going to be a challenge for you, right? So you got to continue to help push them and help lead them, hold them accountable to getting more lead generation, getting more appointments, and getting more everything. So at that point, what ends up happening is that you're building that. Your mega's out there building, getting the listings, getting them sold, getting them under contract, and negotiating them, handing them off to you, so that the mega's got more profitability to go and hire yourself some leverage. Now, the mega doesn't hire your leverage. You hire your leverage. Remember, we talked about that. We talked about that in here. All right. Let's come on down. Learn to say no. All right. Learn to say no. Ladies and gentlemen, no is a complete sentence. No, right? We talk about it, and as agents, when somebody says, hey, will you reduce your commission? No. I'm like, well, okay, I just had to ask, right? See, a lot of times our high ask personality for an admin will actually kind of have a tendency to say, oh, well, I need to help them. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no, not right now. All right. So if you're in your time block and an agent comes up to you because they've broken their time block and they've come to ask you a question and they say, hey, you got a minute? Here's what you're going to say. It's a script. I love this script. And so you're going to memorize the script, memorize it, internalize it, and then you can customize it. Here's how it goes. No. You're going to furrow your brow, right? No. Why do you? And then you're going to throw your hands out like this. No. Why do you? And that's your script. When you get interrupted in your time block from an agent, and they should be in their time block, and they say, hey, you got a minute? You're going to say, no. Why do you? And that's going to be your script as you move forward when you're working with your agents to help them understand that you have a time block as well, and so do they. So do they. All right. Avoiding procrastination. I know many of you are probably not procrastinators. And so if you do run into that situation, I always tell everybody, how did you wake up this morning? Did you hit the snooze? Did you hit the snooze button? Right? If you hit the snooze button, what you've actually done is you've actually started your day off with procrastination. So don't hit your snooze button. As soon as that alarm goes off, whatever you're getting ready to do, do it, or the snooze button goes off. You lay there in the bed and you say, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm up. And if you do that countdown in your brain, what's going to happen is it's going to make it easier for you to actually do it. Because it's when you do a countdown, it's ingrained in you, it's programmed in you that when you do a countdown, that you got to take action on someone. You're getting ready to take action, right? And so let's say that you're sitting down and you're sitting down to actually do something and you're dreading having to do it. Maybe it's making a phone call to a client that's having a challenge. All right. So you sit there, you got your hand on the phone, right? And you're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on 1, you pick up the phone and dial the number. Right. And so that countdown will help you get into action faster and break up that physiology of procrastination. See, because if I asked you what does procrastination look like and asked you to all turn on your webcams right now, what I probably would see is I'd probably see a slump forward, head down, shoulders rolled forward. That would be the body posture of what actually procrastination looks like. All right. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send out homework. I'll send it out late tomorrow night. Some of the homework just so that you're prepared for it. What are your big rocks? All right, that'll be 1. What is your 20%? What is your 20%? right? And then I'm going to ask you to actually go through your scorecard. You're going to rate your current ability on a scale of 1 to 10. Then you're going to write down one action step that you're going to choose to increase over the next week, all right? And then you're going to put a priority column down on all the things that you need to get done, and you're going to prioritize them, okay? So any questions about any of that? We've got a few minutes left here. Let me get back to where I can see the chat window. All right, now I've got back to the chat. Oh, no snooze. Yeah, it drives me crazy as well, right? Yes. As we start hitting that snooze button, I would just rather get to sleep. Don't hit the snooze button, just get to sleep. All right. So what are some questions of any that you may have for anything that we've covered, and not just for today, anything that we have covered since the beginning of this course? What are some questions? What are some challenges? What can I help you with today? We got a few more minutes on here. So what can I help you with? And just post them in the chat window. I can sing the Jeopardy music for you. Do, 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 do. How do you best hold your agents accountable without appearing critical? Okay? The number one way that you can hold someone accountable without appearing critical is to realize that this is a confrontation. Remember, we talked about a confrontation. So you got to know what motivates your agents. All right? What is their big why? And hold them accountable to their big why, right? See, when you hold them accountable to their big why, so then you can actually use their big why, not your big why, their big why. You can actually hold them accountable to that, all right? Are your goals negotiable? So, no, your goals are not negotiable. Yet, let me couch that statement there. Okay, because in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary says, hey, set your goals high, and if you miss them, at least you hit the stars, right? Set the goal to go to the moon, and if you miss the moon, at least you got out of the Earth's orbit and you hit the stars, right? And yet, here's what I know. Remember, we went back and we talked about standard versus goals. With a standard, the business will not be hurt. As long as people are hitting the standard, the business will not be hurt. Yet if we're not hitting the goal, the business, or actually, let me back up and say this right. If you're not hitting the standards, the business will be hurt. There will not be enough income to actually run the business if you're not hitting the standard, okay? Now, there's a goal that's on top of that standard. And so that goal that's on top of that standard, if you don't hit that goal, the business would not come crashing down because at least you hit the standard. Yet now you've got to talk about, well, what's that gap? What's the effort level gap between the standard to stay on the team and the goal that you're desiring to hit? That gap is the emotion around what this goal actually gets you. So let's say like next year is my 10-year anniversary, and I have promised my wife since the year that we got married that on our 10-year anniversary, we would go to Fiji, right? That's the goal, right? Now, my wife may say that's the standard, and yet I'm likely to be looking at it as that's the goal. Yet here's the thing. If I missed Fiji, our marriage isn't going to come crashing down. Yet that's the goal. So what's the emotional gap between the standard that we need to hit to run our family and run our business? What's the emotional attachment to that goal? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, I'm not letting my wife down. I'm not letting my wife down. We're going to Fiji. In December of next year, we are going to Fiji. And so that I've got an emotional attachment to that gap. And I'm willing to do the effort level that it's going to take to fill that gap. And when you know what your agent's emotional gap is, what's going to get them there to that goal, then at that point, you've got the power to actually hold them accountable to that. So something might sound like this, and this is going to sound harsh. You got to make sure this is a confrontation call, and that you got this rapport with your mega or with your agents when you say this. So I noticed this morning that you broke out of your time block early. Did you make all your contacts? Well, no, I'm supposed to make 20. I understand, yet I only made 10, and I had this, and this that showed up. And I can appreciate that you had all those things that showed up. Yet I know that when you hit your goal, that you have promised your family that you're going to Disney World. So when are you planning on making up the time or making up the dials or the contacts that you missed this morning so that you do not have to let your family down? And when you say it like that, see, it's not letting the team down. They hit the standard, whatever the standard was. They may be hitting the standard. Yet the goal was to hold them accountable to not let the family down. See, there's the emotional gap. See, my intentions are at the end of this year for you not to have to call your family or to call a family meeting and tell your children that you're not going to be able to take them to Disney World this year again. You're going to Disney World. And my job is to make sure that I hold you accountable to get you and your family to Disney World this year. Do I have your permission to hold you accountable to that? And is anybody going to say no to that? You can post that in the chat window. I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to say no to that. Most of your agents are not going to say no to that because they're driven. They've got that drive to succeed a lot of times. And so if they've got that drive to succeed, now if you've got enough rapport built with them, you can say, hey, why don't we do this? Every day that you don't hit your 20 contacts, every day that you do not stick to your time block and get your lead generation done, do I have your permission to pick up and call your kids and tell them that, hey, daddy didn't get done what he needed to get done today, so you're probably not going to be able to go to Disney World this year. Do I have your permission to hold you that accountable? Right? And so at that point, that's where the accountability is, because it's not about you. It's not about them. It's actually about the goal of not letting the kids down. See, I care about your kids. I care about your greatness with your kids more than you're willing to stand for your limitations. Your role changes as you take on more tasks off your mega agent's plate. How do you keep your mega from continuing to intend to do those things? So here's what I would suggest in that situation, all right? So the mega agent, two things. One, the mega agent doesn't have enough trust yet that you're going to do it correctly, okay? Now that may be, it just may be that you're new. It may that you've not worked on the trust with the two of you yet, and so that may be one of them. The second thing, though, is that they may be holding on to those things because those things are more comfortable than the lead generation that they need to be doing, right? Just saying. They're holding on to those things because those things make them feel comfortable. It's giving them the endorphins to get things done and check it off their list. Yet they may actually dial 50 calls today and not book one appointment. And so they got no feel-good endorphins running through their body. And so I'd rather just sit down and do a checklist of things that I know I can get done. And I know that when I get finished with them, I can hand them off to you and they're done. And so one of those two reasons may be why they're holding on to those items, right? You got to get them back with the goal, the emotional goal gap. You got to get them back to that. All right. So Amber got the last question of the day. I struggle with balance. Get them to let go. Not so much more that the admin can doing things such as negotiations, right? So you struggle with balance. So as the admin, are you doing negotiations? That's what I'd ask first, Amber, is as the admin, are you doing the negotiations? There's no right or wrong answer by that anyway, just so that you know. Shouldn't be, yet sometimes yes, okay? If you're licensed, you can do the negotiations and it's okay. There's no, again, there's no right or wrong, should you or shouldn't you if you're licensed. And you don't have to post if you're licensed or not on there. Yet here's the thing. All right, if you're doing negotiations and you got 20, 30 folders under and you're doing all the negotiations and doing all the repairs and getting all the repairs assigned and getting all those things done, you may only be able to handle 15 to 20 contracts with everything else you got going on. Yet if you're doing negotiations, or if you're not doing negotiations, you may be able to handle 40 contracts under contract at that time. I will tell you, my wife, and this is just for my team, and I'm only speaking for my team because the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book doesn't really, in the classes we go through contract to close, it doesn't really talk so much about negotiating the repair items. What it says you send them to your client, and they, of all the repairs, they choose which ones they would like to have, and then they send it back to you. These are all the ones that you have. You put the form together and you just send it out to the other agent. There's no negotiation, right? You send it out to the other agent. The other agent sends it back. You just forward it over to the client and let the client decide. All right. So when we go through contract to close, that's how they're going to handle it in the contract to close class. Yeah, we know that in 2017, that's probably not how most of us actually operate. All right. And so in 2013 on my team, my wife was my closing coordinator. We had 42 files under contract. She had one assistant that was helping her just on the contract to close. And what ended up happening was she was negotiating all of the repairs. At 42 contracts in the middle of June, it got to be very, very fascinating. I mean, very fascinating, because we don't use the O word. And so at that point, she's like, I'm out. I cannot keep up this pace. And so I had to outsource it to another company to actually handle our contract to close so we could keep our volume up. Yet that company did not negotiate repairs. And so I took it all back to the agent to negotiate the repairs. And I made the decision at that point for me and my team that the agent will always negotiate the repairs. Okay, not the admin. Now, I know there's Matthew Feddick. I think Matthew Feddick's team, his admin are actually negotiating repairs. You just have to realize that if you're negotiating repairs, you may need more leverage on people, and as you get more and more folders and more closings that you're working on, okay? So I understand that it is a struggle, and there are going to be some times where nothing's 100% of the time, yet it's a model that you're shooting for. And so you and your mega have to sit down and actually determine, based on the size of your contract, how many stipulations are in your contract, all of that, you have to determine what you're looking for. All right. My wife can't go anywhere without the keys. And so as you're going through that, you got to realize that it's a delicate balance that all of you walk, and you're actively balancing. And sometimes you're going to fall off if you got enough rapport. Sometimes you're going to fall on the negative side, and sometimes you're going to fall on the positive side when you're holding people accountable. And that's okay, because the number one thing that you should have if you're going to run a fully functional team is trust. It is trust. See, trust that I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not here to hurt you, right? And so I'm here to hold you accountable, yet I'm not here to hurt you personally. So I'm not, when I say, hey, would you like for me to call your family and tell them that you didn't get what you needed to get done so that you could go to Disney World this year? I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm saying that to help you and hold you accountable to make sure that you hit your goals, because I care about you so much, and I care about your family. All right. So it's 5:09 right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's the end of this course today. If you have any questions, make sure you can send me questions. Just shoot them to the email, respond back to the email that I've been sending out. We'll get all of that together. Again, tomorrow night, I will be sending out your homework. It will be late, so be prepared for that. And if you have any questions, again, don't hesitate I'm here for you. We got one more class before this one is over, and then we may take a 1 week break. Let's just maybe take just a 1 week break, and then we'll go get started. And let me tell you which one we're going to start on next, so that we've got that. Let's see. I'll make sure we got that right, because I told people that we were going to do it in an order, and I desire to make sure that I get that order correct for you. I do not desire to lead anyone astray. Make sure. Now I need my own music for Jeopardy. As I'm looking this up. Man, people have been busy today on here. Let's see. Let me search real quick. Here we go. Okay. So next would be contract to close. That would be the next one up would be contract to close. Then we'll go to managing and servicing listings. Then we'll go into tracking and follow up, and then we'll finalize with the operation, the MREA operations manual with all the forms that go along with that. I'm actually going to take that one, and I'm probably only going to spend 1 day on that one because there's so much in there that if we just broke that down, I mean, that's 2 years worth of me teaching 1 hour webinars. And so we'll probably just go through that so that you know where everything is, everything that's in there, how to use it, and those type of items on that. So the next one will be contract to close. We'll get that one done next. All righty. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. You go out there, have a wonderful day, and go out there and crush it. Be bold. Bye-bye.